Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I might as well get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informants informing, that information forming. Important you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortunately, blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the course, squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't don't stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. Yeah. If having hope is dangerous, call me evil Knievel. You leading on the wrong side, living with pens and needles. So lethal, made Shane Black wanna write a sequel. Cause I snuggle my dream till it's seen as illegal. And I still probably will, cause I can never give up. I got my goals calling me, how could I never pick up? Either we make up or just break up. And the snake hits, get the rake up. Yeah, selfish, I'ma cake up. If I don't shake me to wake up. Let my depression catapult me to succession. Shine a light on my imperfections like a projection. Every struggle a lesson, your issues ain't your oppression. Never got a question, keep pushing me to progression like I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of a validation. No congratulations on no celebration. I know I don't whip out a need of.
All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm so sorry. Kind of all over the place right now, but welcome in, and welcome in. It's me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, and it is another great Thursday night that we are here to what? Converse, have a great conversation, be in communication with one another, wind down from a long week, but we are here to have a good time. So welcome in, everybody. Yeah. Thank you all for joining on tonight. See how fancy we are? We got sounds and stuff now. All right. So, good evening, everyone. I hope your weeks have been great. How have you all been? How is everybody? I hope y'all are doing all right. I'm going to try to be on my bestest behavior this evening for our conversation. And we're going to walk on through it. So, y'all just bear with me one quick moment as I share, and I ask you to do the same. If you don't mind, please, sir, please, ma'am, you are welcome to join us in the sharing ministry on tonight. We're going to share on tonight. I'm sorry. I'm a one-woman show right now, so bear with me as I get my bearings. And as I do what I'm asking you guys to do, share. Y'all know this is the kind of week that it's been. September has been some kind of month. Y'all bear with me a little bit for a moment. Normally we are all together, but we all together, but you know what I'm saying. So anyhow, welcome in, everyone. Thank you. You now have my undivided attention. I think we're good now. But welcome in. I'm so glad you guys are here for another great Thursday night conversation with me and the crew. I am your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, here on the Bravo with Sheila Network, and we always salute our queen bee here, none other than Pastor Sheila Ingram herself. I call her Auntie Bravo. We give her props, credits, and kudos because without her, none of us would be in this space right now. So we thank you for allowing us to have this time. As I say, she yields me this captain's chair so I could spend the next 60, 90, sometimes 120, maybe even more sometimes minutes with y'all. Just depends on how our conversation is flowing, right? But we always have good talk, good times, and we always come out better. So on tonight, let's see. We have the greatest moderator to ever do it in these streets. Inay is in the building. Welcome in, sis. Love you. Thank you for being here. As always, on your post. And y'all say hi to Inay. Inay greets everybody all the time. So tonight we're going to ask you to greet her. How about that? So with that being said, here on the Bravo Sheila Network, while we are not a Christian-based network, most of us here are believers who do share from the platform. I'm going to say that so that we understand that we are all may come from different backgrounds, opinions, thoughts, and that's wonderful and that's great. And we embrace it all here on the Bravo with Sheila Network. We want you to feel comfortable to share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions, whatever your moral compass is. But our number one request and our number one rule, and probably only rule, well, we have two maybe, is respect. So we ask that as we are sharing and engaging on tonight, that we do so respectfully. We don't have to agree because we're not here to convince nor to convict anyone, but we're here to have conversations that will allow us to grow and to glean and to maybe open up our perspective to a different angle or a way of thinking. Just, let's consider some things maybe we have not considered before. So with that being said, again, everyone is welcome to share. We just ask you to do so respectfully. And for those who are engaging, we are going to be respectful in our conversation, in comments, as well as on the platform. And if at any time disrespect is found, this is our disclaimer, we will, unfortunately, have to remove you from the room, from the conversation, as we do protect the integrity of our space. And this is where our amazing moderator, Inay, she's so sweet and so kind. But just as much as she types hello and greets everyone and keeps things moving, them fingers will push that eject button real quick. So don't be the victim of her fingers tonight. All right? Okay. So with that being said, we are going to journey on. And tonight, I believe, before I go first, because, I like to get all the other stuff out of the way. Do want to invite you to join us on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Mondays Beyond the Mic with Dr. Elaine, and I get to ride shotgun as her co-host at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on this channel. So if you hit that like button when you come in, we appreciate it just like that, just real. Don't break it because we want you to push it every time you come in. But if you push that like button, we'd appreciate it. If you hit that subscribe button, we would love it even more so, because that will alert you to when we have shows that are on. Like I said, like Mondays Beyond the Mic. We have great conversation. This month, we've been talking a lot about finance and getting our business in order. So many nuggets have been dropped. So while we talk kind of relationships and life building over here in the emotional sense and senses of the heart on Monday nights, we talk about that too. But we've been dipping into the finance because we want to be people who are well-rounded in always. No sense in having a good relationship in poor pockets, right? So we want to make sure that we do that. So again, at 7 p.m. on Monday nights, me and Dr. Elaine on Mondays Beyond the Mic. So you can join us there. So again, if you would, please, sir, please, ma'am, just hit that thumbs up button as you're coming into the room. We appreciate it. And also go ahead and subscribe, like I said, to the network and set your notifications. We don't want to miss you, and we surely don't want you to miss us. So with that being said, if you are in need of any spiritual encouragement, enlightenment, just a little knowledge, you can always go across the street to the Sheila Ingram Ministries Network. Over there, you will find a host of encouragement through word, through song, through prayer, and that is shared by, of course, Pastor Sheila Ingram, as well as my mom, my real mom, my mom for real, Pastor Rosa, and also Reverend Jeannie. Now, the three of them come on. They'll be on tomorrow. They're the Women of Grace. They come on at 11 a.m. But you will also find them throughout the week over there. And while I'm mentioning that, I do want to invite you all for a special invitation next Wednesday at 7 p.m. over on the Sheila Ingram Ministries Networks, right across the street. You can't miss it either way. Over there, we will be having a conversation, an unfiltered conversation about the church, the pulse of the church. So if you're interested, come on over and support us. We're going to make sure that information is available too. And we're going to have a panel. I want to say a huge panel, which will be hosted by Pastor Sheila. I will be riding shotgun with her, and we are looking forward to digging into and really getting into the pulse of the church, an unfiltered conversation. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the elephants in the room, just all that stuff. So come on over and let's get free over there. So with that being said, I think that covers all of the announcements, so to speak. See, I'm so churchy. It covers all that I could possibly think of right now. So without further ado, we are going to bring up the crew as we dig into the conversation on tonight. So I want y'all to welcome in. You know her, you love her. America has their sweetheart and Bravo has ours. And she is none other than the amazing Coach Theo. My sis is in the building. Welcome in, sis. Welcome in. We got your round of applause. How you doing tonight, sis?
I'm well. I'm always caught off guard by the introduction, but I'm well.
You always like, who am I talking about?
Yeah. I'm like, who's she introduced?
What about you?
How are you, sis? How was your week?
Yeah, it's
You don't have to say another word. I got you.
Okay. September. Yeah, September's been doing a job. This month, it's been a month. I'm glad it's almost over. You know how you have to look like you laugh to keep from crying, or you smile to keep from whichever that is. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of that this month, but I'm good. We made it through the day. We made it.
Yeah, for real.
But I'm glad to see you. And also in the building, y'all know him. You have come to love him. He is the reason why we have put a disclaimer here. So I'm going to put it out there before we even bring him up. So I'm just going to have to start making it a part of the banner, because this conversation tonight, we don't know what is going to come out of his mouth. But here we don't discriminate. We just let it flow. We go with it. All right. So he is. The disclaimer is the thoughts, feelings, and opinions that are expressed by our next squad member and not necessarily those that are shared with the Bravo Sheila Network, but we appreciate his presence, we appreciate his input, and we appreciate his voice holding it down for the men on tonight. So come on up, Sir Eric the Matador. Welcome on tonight.
Good evening. How are you?
It's a dangerous question tonight. So,
I'm chilling tonight because I'm having some issues with my jaw. I think I did something to it and everything. So, yeah, I'm pretty much chilling tonight. And tomorrow's surgery day. So, yeah, I'm relaxed mode.
Yes. Well, we are glad that you are here with us, and we'll definitely be praying for you while you are.
I am too.
What?
I don't know what that was. Okay. We're starting off.
I'm ready to get started. Are you?
Oh,
Okay.
Just to leave every time we talk tonight. Is that
what are we doing? Is that what we're doing tonight?
Right. Oh, just let us know so we're uniformed, or is that just for you?
Just want to make sure that I'm being heard.
Okay, got it. All right. Yes. Well, we're gonna. Again, the thoughts, feelings, and opinions. See,
I'm just going to say, I got on my God's favorite shirt today, so I don't know.
Oh, Lord have this now. Mercy. Okay, so before we start, let's see who's in the chat tonight so far so we can welcome our peoples in. And as always, guys, we want y'all to engage with us and let's see who is in the building. We've already greeted our moderator. She is here on her post. I'm so glad about that. Welcome in. Patrick Riley is in the building saying, hey, family. Hey, fam. What's poppin'? Patrick, a.k.a. Bishop, how you doing? Glad you couldn't make it in. And also in the building, look at here. We have Mr. Roderick Brown. Welcome in, love. Good to see you, hon. How are you? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I'm all happy and smiles now. Let's see. And for those who are up, those are the only people who are doing a roll call tonight so far. But for those of you who are in the silent section and up in the expensive seats, we want to say hello and good evening to you too. Welcome in. We always invite y'all to come on down to the chat. Just say hello. We want to greet you properly. We see you, but we don't want to push you to talk if you don't want to. But just know that it's safe down here. Y'all have been around long enough to know it's safe. In spite of what may go on, it is safe. We good. All right. So, I forgot to take the see. Look at that. I'm all excited and left the comment up. Just leave it up all night. But we want to thank you for joining us on tonight, and we greet you all as well. So tonight's topic, as we dig into relationship. Now I want to say all of us up here have been married. Okay, so we've all experienced or been in an experience that this topic is going to cover on tonight. So we just going to share from our well of life, and we want you in the chat to also do the same. And it's not that you have had to be married to engage in the conversation, but do want you to share your thoughts, your feelings, and your opinions within the conversation, even if you're not married, because one day you may be. Tell us how you feel. So tonight's topic is, who did I marry? Now, I know typically you may think that the question is about your spouse, but it's really not. You know, we don't ever do anything normal here, ordinary. So that question, who did I marry, is really about the outside people that come along with your spouse and the effects that they may or may not have on your relationship. You know, there are many things that break up relationships, that cause friction, create waves. And so we just want to talk and dig in and keep it really real, because, you know, I'm just going straight. Y'all know me. I'm straight, no chaser. I just feel like overall, sometimes I'm going to say it so we don't have to worry about saying it later. I'm just going to start at the 8:30 point. You know, I don't have too many more months left to be toxic, so I got to get all the toxicity out. Okay? So I'm just...
Toxicity.
Yes, I'm a little tongue-tied today. So I'm just going to start out by saying, you know, family, mind your business. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. You know, pretty much like families have to learn, right? And there it is. I said it for everybody. I said it for the world, for the universe, for those who don't want to say it. I didn't really want to start off with that burst, but you know, hey, we're here now. You know, families, I believe, have to learn to mind their business, because a lot of times our comments, our opinions, they start to sway and influence and disturb a perfectly normal, not perfect relationship, but a perfectly normal relationship that is taking its perfectly normal stages, which means ups and downs, which means there's going to be bumps in the roads, which means there's going to be stops and pivots. That means there's going to be detours, all of those things. But sometimes our outside family and friends expect for our relationship or our mate, male and female, to be that one perfect example and never do anything wrong and never have any flaws, never have any issues. God forbid you show up in a space of humanity in the relationship with the person that you're with, and your family should hear about it, because then all of a sudden they don't like them no more. Oh, I know he or she was no good. You know, is it just me? We've all heard that, right? I knew they would be like that, all those things, when that's not true. And then when it comes to the marriage, it makes it even worse and heavier. Families and friends outside interferences, I believe, don't always understand the weight that they put on an already bad situation in a marriage. It's like, are you trying to help them stay together, or are you intentionally trying to tear them apart? And we know that there are two sides to this also, because those of us who are in relationships or have been married or are in marriages, hush your mouth too. We can't tell everybody everything. So there's a balance that has to be found. So we want to walk through this openly tonight, if that's all right. So with that being said, I'm going to yield the floor to Coach Theo. Lean in, tell us what you're in chat. Tell us how you feel. What is your thought, feeling, or opinion on the weight of family and friends on a relationship and marriage?
So
they build it, they crush it.
Am I muted? So I will say, just from personal experience, right? I've learned that it is best for people to keep situations in their relationships to themselves. And I only say that because, like, I'm very protective of my friends, right? And so I've had a situation with one of my best friends told me something that her man said, like, if they weren't married, but they lived together, right? Whatever, but said, and, you know, she got over it. They stayed together. And I will honestly say, I probably held a grudge for a very long time, right? And, you know, will always be respectful. I'm never going to disrespect someone's mate, but like how I moved when I was around the person was different, right? Like I would say hello, I would be cordial, but I didn't have much to say because I was holding a little bit of, you know, animosity because I didn't like what he had said about my friend to her, right? So I do think that it's important for people to be mindful of what they share about their mate, because unfortunately, their friends and family may hold on to it much longer than they do, like you said in the beginning, right? And you know, hold it against the person, right? I mean, I eventually got over it, but I just feel like people need to work out situations amongst themselves. Like when you bring a third party into a situation, a third party, fourth party, a fifth party into a situation, unless it's an unbiased like counselor or therapist or somebody, you are potentially setting yourself up for, you know, a situation that you don't want to deal with.
True. Very true. Thank you for that. So chat, before we get to Eric's response and input, well, you know what? Go ahead, E. Tell us what's your basic opening input on this thought.
Mind your business. Plain and simple. Mind your business. Stay out of other people's business, like you said. Because when you're interfering in somebody else's relationship, that lets me know that you are not dealing with your own issues in your relationship, because you're minding somebody else's business instead of handling your own. So mind your business. Go bake a cake or something. Don't interject in somebody else's business unless the two parties agree to ask you questions concerning situations. That's it.
What if you can't bake?
Lord Jesus.
Boil some water. Boil an egg.
Just find something else to do.
You know what I'm saying? You know, take the crust off the bread. I don't care what you do, but stay out of my business.
Some people like crust on their bread. Well, hold on, y'all. We want to welcome in the queen curator of this network, the Pastor Sheila Ingram, my auntie Bravo. Welcome in. She's in the building. She says, blessings, everyone.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, auntie, we hope you are having a great day, night, and time. Thank you for joining on tonight. And welcome in. Look,
yeah, I know.
Paris is in the building. I'm happy to have a theme song. Paris is in the building. I'm gonna make a song for you, Paris. Don't worry. She's in the house tonight. Y'all know it's about to get tight now. But, Paris, of course, she agrees with Eric.
But no, I agree with Eric though. I think the best thing is, you know, just to become a member of the Mind Your Business ministry.
Yep.
Okay. We're gonna keep that in mind. We're gonna keep the Mind Your Business ministry. I hope y'all are writing that down. Oh, you like it? Okay. I'm glad you like your theme song. Paris is in the building. Paris in building. Okay, we're gonna get it.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm behaving.
So
I saw
let
it.
me
My jaw hurt.
no, you're not. No, we're not. You're not. We're not. It's just that kind of night. And hold up. The odds have just been evened out because
Justin.
our next squad
Who's
member is in the building tonight. So we know this conversation is about to get even more tighter. Know him. If there was a male version of the Bravo with Sheila Sweetheart Club, it would be him. So you know him. He is Mr. Courageous Vulnerability. AJW, the poet, is in the house on tonight. Welcome in. He has his glasses already.
Right, he got his shades on already.
How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm okay. Yourself? Tired.
I thought I was about to do sideways. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, no,
we're not doing that again with you. We're not doing that again with you.
All
right, so Paris says she likes her song. She says she almost shouted on that. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. And she says, mind your business, ministry. All right. There we go. And that's what there we have it on this evening.
I'm gonna chill tonight. I'll be good. I'm going good.
That was a good one. So tonight, again, guys, welcome in everyone. Those who are just now joining, it's me, your Thursday night host, Lady Dawn B, with the Thursday night crew, and we are talking about who did I marry? Married to the family. We want to talk about the issues, interferences, and sometimes not, because it's not all bad. Sometimes there are pros to having your family involved in your marriage to a degree. Well, maybe not in your marriage, but in the midst thereof, helping to build from an exterior. So let me ask this question. Maybe I should have started here because, I just went straight and said, mind your business, because that's just how I feel most of the time. The importance of this conversation is because sometimes we don't set proper boundaries. Because we are so accustomed to, the adjustments that it takes from going from a single life to a relationship to a marriage are very different, and you have to understand that when we enter into marriage, it really is a covenant, an agreement between you and the person that you've been dating. This is no longer my boyfriend or my girlfriend. You may not believe or think that husband and wife is just a title or just a name. No, it really does it hits different. It hits different because I can't just treat you any kind of way because we're not just dating. We have come into a agreement with one another. I'm responsible for you. You're responsible for me. So we navigate ourselves. We have to adjust and move differently. So let me ask this question. Do you believe that a marriage is between, when you get married, is that marriage really just between you and the person you marry? And chat, please, y'all chime in. Is the marriage between you and the person you marry, or is the marriage between you, the person you marry, and their family? What do y'all say? Okay, Eric. We can't hear.
I was gonna say
I know. I was raising my hand. I wanted to make sure you was gonna come to me first, so that way I can unmute my mic. So it's supposed to be between you and your spouse. Family should not be involved. But somehow, some way, they find a way to come through the cracks of the door to hear what's going on. They want to know everything that's going on in your marriage. How's the marriage going? Oh, you've been married for 6 months now. How's that going? It's going good. Oh, you don't have no problems? With you asking me if I have a problem now. But other than that, my marriage is going great.
Okay.
Mind your business. Thank you.
You're
like
welcome.
some cream in your coffee.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're at tonight. Okay.
Yes.
So, Theo, in your experience, humble opinion, and whatever your compass is, do you believe a marriage is between the two people? Is it between just two people, or is it between those two people and their families?
I agree with Eric. Like I think it should be between the two people, but family does find a way to, wiggle their way in, whether it's, trying to show concern, whether it's, trying to be helpful in whatever way they think. And for me, interestingly, I've been divorced longer than I was even married. But anyway, I would say for me, it was an interesting situation because my ex-husband was like friends with my cousins, right? Best friends with my cousin's husband. So he was kind of like already entrenched in the family when I met him, and then we got married, and my cousins tend to think I'm spoiled, right? So if anything happened or they said, like, it was always me, right? That's what say it was. But I think in that instance, it made it a little harder because he was friends with my family, right? He was friends with my cousins. So it was natural sometimes, I guess, for him to talk with, his best friend who was married to my cousin or whatever. But for the most part, I would say I think we did a good job of really managing any situations or issues we had amongst ourselves.
Okay. So
bringing people into it.
All right. So let's see what they're saying in the chat. Patrick says, agreed to Eric. Agreed, Sir Eric. Okay. He agrees. Paris, oh, Lord. Eric said... Eric is salty tonight. Coach is so sweet.
I think because Eric's jaw is hurt, it just may seem like he's salty.
No, okay. I'm gonna leave that there. All right. So, anyone else in the chat want to share? Do you think a marriage is between two people, or is it between two people and their family? Now, my thoughts, feelings, and opinions are this: a marriage is between two people. Period. Point blank. And period. Some more. Let me read the comment before I continue. Paris says, family asks questions, but you don't have to tell them anything. And that's true. But I think we need to make the clarity and free some people tonight and understand that a marriage is between the two people that are actually signing that paper. The marriage is not in any means related to the family. You are creating a new family with you and the person that you are married to. In my thoughts, my feelings, my opinion. Family is now enlarged. Family is now increased. And a new family is now made because there are additions, because the person you're marrying is coming with their own family. This new unit creates a bigger unit, but marriage within itself is between the two people who sign that paper.
Yeah.
I'm not in agreement, under contract, legally obligated, naturally, spiritually obligated to anybody else but that man, because, I don't do women, but that man who signs the paper, whose name is on the paper, whose name I then take. And so I think we have to, first of all, understand the distinction between marriage and family. And I believe that line gets crossed very often because when it comes to the wedding, and that's another thing, a wedding is different from the marriage. When it comes to the wedding, I think this is where the lines kind of get crossed and blurred because everybody wants to be a part of the planning. Everybody wants, if your mama didn't get her day and now it's your day, and she's gonna be like, why don't you get this dress, or why don't you pick this color, or why don't you have this menu? Or if your daddy never had his day, he may be like, well, son, well, why don't y'all show up this way? You know what? Let's rent a helicopter. Let's do all the, and people start to involve themselves deeper in your beginning. And that's really the place where you have to start to cut them off. Again, it brings us to the boundaries. So
but I think it's not just family. I think it's also very important to include friends in that as well.
I totally agree.
Yeah, because and like you said, I think it does start there. It starts with people trying to interject their opinions on, like you have certain people that want to invite people to the wedding that you don't even know, right? It's like, so I do think it's important to establish the rules of engagement. Right. Yeah. When it comes to planning the wedding, when it comes to your marriage, and that has to happen between the two people, right? They have to be in agreement on how they're going to navigate certain situations that might arise.
And that's true. What, Eric, what was you gonna say? What were you gonna add?
I was gonna just say, like, my daughter is going to be getting married sometime, maybe next year. So her and her fiance, I had the conversation with him. I gave my opinion and I told him, whatever y'all need, let me know. Other than that, I'm out of this. Just give me the date and the time. I'm going to show up. Let me know what color I should wear. And that's it. You need money? I got you. But your planning and all that, that's between y'all two. And I already know. And I had this conversation. You already know how I'm out. I'm done. I'm good. The same thing. James to say he's getting married, I'm going to give him advice. And I'm going to say, now you got to start planning.
Well, you better than me because I ain't saying nothing.
They're
talking in the chat. I'm gonna leave that alone because I felt myself somewhere. Sarah says, Coach is so sweet defending Eric. Love you, Coach. She also says, I say what does God say? That's what she says. Let's see. She also says, if I'm not sleeping with you or have birthed you, you don't have to ask too many questions. I'm just saying, listen, even if I did birth you, my son needs to mind his business. Yeah. It has nothing to do with you. You would be lucky if you're invited, period. I'm just saying. And I don't want y'all to think I don't love my son, because I do. I know I dig at him a lot, but he does a lot of stuff. But, but it speaks to boundaries. And it speaks to us giving people sometimes too much leeway into our lives, too much voice and too much opinion, too much freedom to dominate and have things their way versus us protected. Because you have to think, you're now responsible for protecting this person that you are agreeing to be married to, I love you. I don't need my family to love you the way I love you, and this is my attitude, and it's been proven. I have history. I could care less if you don't like who I'm with. I really don't. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to be with them. You don't have to, like Paris said, you don't have to sleep with them. You don't have to eat with them. You don't have to enjoy them. And you will never know them in the same way that I know them. Because different relationship. So no, you're not going to see him or her the same. Your mama's not going to see, I get it. Because, mom, sometimes we can overstep boundaries and be like, that girl ain't no good, and A, B, and C, but it's our own. It's not always coming from a motherly place. Sometimes it's coming from the woman's space. And sometimes we begin to feel a little bit threatened because a woman could be taking our child away. That's how we seem to it as moms. So we're not giving advice from an unbiased place. We are having issues with how our relationship with our sons are disturbed. And I'm sure Fathers do the same things. Everything is, this is my baby girl, and that's my baby. Well, sir, he is not looking at her as your baby girl when she was 7. He's looking at her as a grown woman the same way you look at your wife, and that is who he sees. Who she is becoming or she is with him is not the same person that she is totally with you, you know. And so we have to really, as parents and people on the outside and friends, think about this perspective as we are sharing our thoughts, feelings, and opinions, solicited and unsolicited, with those who are in the relationship. Because sometimes we are now causing damage, because we've all been in this spot, I'm sure, where someone in your family, in a moment, you've been upset with your partner and you're venting, not like, you know, you don't love them no more, but you're mad. You're having a human moment. You're venting. You need to get it off your chest. You don't want to say it to them because you don't want to hurt them, but, you know, I'm just saying, I just need a safe place to talk, you know. And then we share it, and then the person we share it with commiserates with us, right? And then they get on the bandwagon because I'm in a heated moment. And then what they are now spewing into what you are venting, you walk away with.
Yeah.
And then you go home with a worse attitude, and now you start looking at him differently, or you start looking at her with the side eye, you know, on your way home, and be like, you know what? I never noticed she did that. You know what? I never noticed he did this. You know, and if we're honest, and that's the thing, we've all been on both sides of that coin.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly will say one of my pet peeves just in general is I hate unsolicited opinions, right? Don't give me an unsolicited opinion, advice, any of that, right? And I think that's another issue that creates problems, right? Because you do have like family members and friends who just will decide out of the blue to tell you how you should move or how you should do things, or, you know, just based on, because that's the other thing. People don't realize that you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors, right? It's you're hearing one side of the story, or you are seeing something act out, you're seeing body language, and then you form an opinion and a story in your head, right? And or you might vent and you get over it, and now next thing you know, the person is still bringing it up and they're trying to give you some unsolicited advice or opinion. So, you know, I try not to do things that I don't like done to me to other people. So right, so I'm the last person that's gonna, and I usually will say, listen, I'm not no relationship expert, so I'm not trying to give anybody my advice or opinion. Now, if you want me to listen, I'm gonna listen. And to me, when someone vent, doesn't necessarily mean you have to respond, because it just might be they want to get something off their chest.
Right. You're right. And you know, well, hold on. Let me welcome in Vaughn, the Invisible Man. Eric, he says blessings all with 9,000 L's, because he always likes to make sure that everyone is feeling the love. So glad you are here in the building with us tonight. Let's see. Paris was saying, preach, Lady B. I'm just saying. Paris also said, you need to choose wisely who you vent to. That's true. She says, to be fair, many vent to people who tell them what they want to hear. That's a good point. Right. She also says, haters are in your family and amongst friends.
Which is another reason why I usually just listen, because normally people don't want to hear what I have to say, because it's going to be the truth.
And that's
like, I'm not going to always agree with. I'm not going to agree with you just because you my person.
Right. I'm just not going to agree.
Wrong, I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with you just to get along, because there's no such thing. Yeah. You know, you might be mad at me for a little while, but it's all right. You've been mad before. You'll be mad again. You
but
know.
What Paris said is true. Most people will go to the person that they know is going to agree with them, or jump on the bandwagon with them, right? Commiserate with them. So, yeah.
And the reason why this conversation is so important is because we have to learn how to guard our relationships. A lot of us are, how do I want to put this? Lord help me. falsifying being happily single.
Yeah, for real, for real.
So
There's so many people that are running around like,
we
oh
falsify.
my God, I'm happy to be single. I'm living my best life.
No, you're not. No,
There are a
you're
lot
not.
of those people out here.
And it's also because we have worked ourselves up to this space where we have just let all these other things, and again, outside people dominate how we really think and feel. You letting people change your opinion, letting people keep you in this box of singleness that is not healthy. True, everyone may not desire marriage, and that's fine. I'm not saying that everyone has to. I would say nothing is 100% for everybody. Marriage is not for everybody. Singleness is not for everybody. Relationship is for everyone. What that relationship is, because we are people who need people. We are meant to connect with others. It is, physically, we have to, doesn't mean sexually, it means physically. We all need a hug. We all need a handheld. We all need a touch sometimes. We all need to laugh, to be in the presence of other people at some point. And a lot of us are faking this happily single life because we've allowed the opinions of others to box us in and ruin potential relationships. So again, having this conversation about who am I married to, is important now in your singleness and in your dating stage, because you need to start rethinking about who do I need to stop who is keeping me single. Let me rephrase that, because accountability is on us. Who am I allowing to keep me single? Whose opinions and thoughts am I allowing? Like, oh no, well, don't date him. Don't talk to her. You can get to know a person. It costs you nothing to get to know a person. I tell anybody, I show up in my most unperfected form possible, because I don't want you to be surprised at the inner core elements of doing. When I'm silly, when I'm moody, I will tell you, I'm completely honest. Like, I'm not nasty, and like I have to be triggered in order to be nasty most of the time. I know myself. I know my ways. And when I show up, and I'm saying this to say, there is no perfect relationship, because there are no perfect people. There are preferences, and what you may want in a relationship may not be what I want in a relationship. What you need from a spouse or a mate or a companion is not what I need. You may need them to wine and dine you, and just, you may need to run up and down the road. You may need them to travel. That may not be what I want. I may need someone who can just be present. Can we Netflix and chill at home and for real? Can we have, and I love this new thing, really, we got to normalize this, nap dates. Like, can we do that? Can we, like, maybe that's what I want.
We just go to sleep.
Yeah, I think it goes back to that conversation or a little back and forth we were having with Justin the other day in the chat, right? Because I think also it evolves, right? What I might have been looking for as younger Theodora, Theo T, whatever, right, is different from what I'm looking at, right, as I approach the good old age of 60, right?
Come on, 60.
Right? So 20-year-old, right, and 30-year-old and 40-year-old Theodora. But because I would say I was the queen, like back in my, 20s and 30s. I needed me, a guy with a little edge. Like, I needed you to be able to wear a suit, but I needed you to be able to throw on some Timbs and some jeans, right? I needed you to have a little edge to yourself, right? I might have been, I was that person that maybe wanted to be like, let's go to a play, let's go here, let's go there, right? Now, like Eric said, I might just be like, oh, we could just sit out on the patio, right? Chill, sit on the couch, like you said, take a little nap, right? So I think, because even with my friends, right? We used to travel yearly together. In our 20s and 30s, we went away and we would rip and run. We come back tired from vacation. Now we go on vacation. We're like, okay, where's the lounge chair?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that's another thing we have to think about as we grow, right? The people that we consider to be confidants, we have to change as well.
Mm-hmm. No, let me read some comments. Paris said, I would want the truth from you, coach. Coach is always going to give you the truth. She's always going to give it to you. You know, I'll give it to you straight, no chaser. She's going to be a little bit more delicate about it. I may not know. I'm not always as refined, as demure as, you know, as I may look.
Well, it depends.
Right. It depends on the moment.
Sometimes I could be a little whatever.
Like we switch, we balance.
But for the most part, yeah, I'm going to try to.
You're always going to get
I'm
that.
going to ease in.
Yes. Oh, Patrick, don't be laughing at my nap dates now. Listen,
no, let me tell you, nap dates are the thing, man. Or even that, you know, let's just stay home on a Saturday, turn on the TV, lay up in bed, watch TV, you know, chill, go to sleep, wake up, watch a movie. Like that is like,
why do we have to be busy all the time? Like, do we have, like, can we just, you know, it's just, look, I do enough stuff. See, but you know what? How we here? I don't even know how we got here, but I'm just, you know.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading Paris's comment.
I know you looking at a comment, right? Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Starting trouble with me tonight.
I wanna say, you'd be surprised the other side of the person that you are looking to see.
Yep.
Will be found in these type of moments in a nap date. You be like, dang, she's so rough and so hard all the time, you know, or, you know, just so strong and stern, you know, but that softer side may come out when you are in a different, it will come out in a different environment you create. So yeah, nap date is for, because sisters be tired. I'm just saying, life is life and right now. I need a nap date.
My wife, she
says,
sectional and I got mine.
She said, Coach needed a roughneck like MC. Like, listen.
Listen, you needed to have a little edge. Even now, I'm not gonna say, like, you know, you know, you gotta be able to.
I don't need you to
have somebody who's gonna be able to knuckle up and protect you when need to be.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say that for after dark. Yeah, we need that. We need that. Okay. Yeah, you gotta have some grit to you. You have to have, like, I love a gentleman. I love a gentleman. I love that you can wear a suit well. I know you represent well. I love when you your speech flows.
Yeah.
You know, when your confidence, you know, you on sway and all that. But I also love when we could take it down in this, you know, sweats and sneakers, sweats and Nikes, Timbs and jeans, you know, baseball cap to the back. However, like, can we rock out and ride desert or whatever that vibe is?
Whatever that looks like. Yeah,
you know, with that balance. And as a woman speaking, you know, to regarding men, you know, you. Well, I could say all, but, you know, myself and Theo, because she admitted it too. We like that. Like, I need to know that you gotta, like, be a little rough sometimes, you know, a little, you know.
And also be able to be a little, you know, I want to say, like, be a gentleman, but don't let me walk all over you.
Oh no, don't do that.
Right. So that you need to, you know, we need to be able to have some nice conversations, right? Debate, you know, have a good time together. Cause I can be silly, right? And I need you to be able to rock with me.
Mm-hmm. I need your no to be no for sure. Yeah. Let me see. She says, okay, no, we went through that already. Paris said Eric is older. He would want the couch and the
See what I'm saying? I'm already on the couch. That's what you how much you know, Paris.
So now I gotta put two disclaimers. The thoughts, feelings, and opinions expressed by Paris Von Thomas are not those.
I'm already on the couch.
And you know, his jaws hurt, so he can't really clap back the way he wants to.
No.
Right.
My mouth is fully wide open.
Oh Lord. Okay, what else does she say as we move forward? She said, tell Coach we are on the same page, and Dawn almost went into a praise. Listen, We need a Holy Ghost filled rough day. Look,
Yes.
look. I did almost go. I don't even know how we got here because this is nice. Well, anyway,
I'll have a suit on, beat you. I'll take my suit off, beat you down, and put it back on.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, listen.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to mess up my suit.
I'm just look. I'm
M's ready.
I need the assistant needs what she needs. I'm with you. It's just because Coach brought it up, so I'm just saying. It is true. I absolutely love a gentleman because I'm gonna be a lady, and the reason why I like that but this is why we shouldn't box each other into just one way of being.
Exactly.
I'm good right now. I did have them on. I had to take them off because the light is actually bothering my eyes today. So y'all bear with me. So you will see. I will take them on enough. Yes, ma'am, Miss Paris. Y'all know my eyes. But because I know how I am now, I might surprise you as Trey femme and ladylike and all of that and that I am and enjoy being. But baby, let the moment arise, all the Bronx and all the Bayesian comes out. It's like what we doing? Because it's on and popping. So we, that balance, that duality can be very important.
Yeah, I mean, and I think
is
that,
very
and
important.
I don't even know how we got here, but maybe I started it. But also, I think it's important to, just be clear on what your boundaries are as you're starting that whole dating process, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, sometimes
tonight.
I'm not. Sometimes we have to give each other space to grow and get to know each other in these relationship spaces. And not necessarily hold against each other the multiple sides of who I am.
Yeah.
Certain sides of me or certain sides of us are only going to come up when prompted. It's not like this is what I do every day, all day, or this is who I am. Yeah. So this was a good sidebar. I want to pull it on back to our conversation. Welcome back, Justin. About who am I married to? And again, it all lends into how we allow people in our relationships, and the boundaries that we have to set, especially when it comes to marriage, because a lot of marriages are broken, destroyed, have breaches because of outside interference. Now, I want to read something, but I'm also going to be transparent. I've had my family interject in my relationships and marriages in a way that
I'm sorry, I gotta mute myself.
Eric, mute yourself.
I didn't ask for,
So you had unsolicited.
I did. And it's because of the love that my family feels for me. They're very protective. Quite often feeling like no one is ever good enough, for you. And this is something that you have to keep in mind as you're dating. If I bought into the thought that no one is ever good for me, no one is ever good enough for me, that would leave me in a space of never attempting to date anyone. That would leave me in a space of being by myself for my whole life, and that's not where any of us should be. But this is why I say we have to be mindful of what we take in from outside people, whether it be solicited or unsolicited. Yep. And they mean it from a very good place. And I'm highly honored that my family would think that way. And we all think that way about each other. We're very protective of each other. I don't play that. My sister be like, okay, I see you, I love her. That's my sister. And what I need you to not do is ever put your hands on her, the few little things. Other than that, y'all go ahead with your life. I ain't worried about it. But I'm that sister who I will show up. My sister will do the same. She may show up ahead of something happening, but she will show up, but she's protective, and that's what happens. So we have to be able to, and that can damage. And by no means I'm not, picking on my sister, throwing her out there, anything like that. I'm just telling a real situation, and being transparent. And when we're that person outside that's being super protective of the person in the relationship, we have to be mindful of how we approach, how we address, and the things that we say, because we are damaging each other in our protection. It's like, so you want me to be by myself? So you want me to like not have anybody? Don't box each other in. And let's be mindful to respect those boundaries. And this is where boundaries are important. So I'm going to read something and then we can dialogue some more. Hope y'all are enjoying this conversation thus far. We just talking tonight, nothing too heavy, nothing too serious, but we're talking about who did I marry? Married to the family. Is marriage really between two people or two people and the family? Before I go on, let me just read this comment. And then Justin, welcome back. I want you to Dawn, Eric said you were close to perfection. And I agree. Oh, well, thank you. I am perfectly me. That's about the only perfection that I can promise you, is that I will perfectly be me. But thank you. That's okay. He has his perfection right now. He is married to his perfection right now. But I do appreciate that. So Justin, what say you? How you doing tonight? Do you feel that is between two people or between two people in the family?
Marriage is between two people, but it don't necessarily function that way a lot of times. So I think marriage is supposed to be between two people, ain't but two people stand up there at the altar. But sometimes other people get involved, and to some degree that may not necessarily be a bad thing. But the ultimate choice should be between two people. That's what I would say about that.
Okay. How do you feel since you are oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Paris is having all that. Paris says, I will not get in your marriage, but if you or coach need me, I got you. Can't get into details, but I got you.
Put her in.
But that's the friend. That's the friend you need when you be like, "Hey, we need to do X, Y, Z," and all they be like, "Who's driving? Right? Where we going? Right?
Oh yeah, we rolls like that for sure.
I don't need to know where we going. Just when we get in the car, just direct me.
Yeah, we know you.
The less I know, the better. Because as stuff goes down, I got to roll with a crew that don't snitch.
There's no snitch. We don't do that, and we're not doing anything that we would require any snitches for. Just so that
let's put that disclaimer out there.
We should know there's nothing, no activities that go on.
I don't care if we're going to get a birthday cake from my wife. You are not to say anything. Nothing.
We're just saying there is no shenanigans and tomfoolery going on that would ever need snitching. Anyway, we're just gonna move on. Hey, welcome, MP Poet. See, y'all got me messed up tonight. Poet MB Strength is in the house. What's good? Moose is in the building. Bravo with Sheila. We call him Moses over here. Welcome in. You should have been up here tonight. So Justin, before we move on, with that being said, how much influence, or should outside family and friends have any opinions or influence on your marriage or who you marry?
Before I say anything, I just want to say on the advice of counsel, I am invoking my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent on certain matters.
What's going on?
I think we all are tonight.
However, in regards to the specific question asked, I am responding. See, where I'm at right now. I don't know if y'all can see my face, but this is why I do
Okay,
what I do.
got it.
Um,
Got it.
yeah, no, I think that I think that having the right person, or at most two people who love the union
Mm-hmm.
more than the individual, can be very beneficial and helpful. Um, for me, I would prefer to have friends that hold me accountable, and I would prefer, if I'm married to somebody, that her friends hold her accountable, and that they are my friends, and that they love me, and that I love them, so that the goal is, hey, let's try to make this work. But outside of that, if you got a bunch of toxic people outside, then keep them out.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Um, and that's good. And I think that it's important that we keep in mind, this conversation is for us to really consider the other side of how relationships and marriages should, could, and might work when we lessen the outside interferences that go on. And it again gets back to this word, this point, this premise of boundaries. Some of us, again, are blocking ourselves from being in healthy relationships, in loving relationships. Again, not perfect relationships. Moose said it depends. Um, okay, I got you. Feel free to elaborate. You know, um, but we have to keep in mind that a marriage, and as I said earlier, a marriage literally is between two people.
Yeah.
And it's only between those two people who sign that paper.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is in covenant. No one else is in contract. No one else is legally obligated. Just the two people on that paper. Family is all the other things outside of that. Family is the space that we are now creating a new family, a new dynamic. And even in that, there has to be boundaries. But in order to have a happy and successful marriage and relationship, you have to have boundaries for those who are outside of your relationship, because your partner is never going to be seen by them in the same way that we see them, or the same way that you see them. So I think that's a very important point that we have to learn to embrace and learn to keep in the forefront, because sometimes we want everybody to like who we like. We want everybody, when you first start dating or seeing somebody, and he or she is just like everything, and you excited, and any little thing that they do, you like, and yep, because when he called today and when she texted me and I was waiting, everybody's not going to be excited in that same way, but we want them to. Or when we go out, as our dynamics change, everybody's not going to be as excited. Everyone is not going to know your spouse or your person in the same way that you do, nor should they. Because there's certain things that are going to be in your relationship that are just for your relationship. I'm going to read this comment. I've been trying to read something for a minute now. I'm like, it's okay. It's where we're going. It's what it is tonight. It said, you have to know who truly loves you: God, family, and marriage, and our people. If not, keeping your thoughts.
If not, keep your thoughts to
If
yourself.
not, keep your thoughts to yourself. Right. For me, I can honestly say I believe, and anyone who knows me and has experience with me can tell me right or wrong. I love everyone. I will not be biased in how in what you say. We can talk, you can share. I'm gonna say the truth. I'm on the side of truth always. Because there's 2 sides, 3 sides, or sometimes 9 sides to a story, just depending on how many people are involved. But the one side that's always right is the truth. And when we're able to pull the truth from whatever the situation is, and you have to be willing, first of all, to hear the hard truth about what you did. That's where I start with when someone comes to me, talking to me in their relationship spaces and counseling and in therapy. You know, not that, you know, well, as a minister and in ministry and as an elder, you know, we do talk and counsel with people. And in that space, you have to be honest and you have to be truthful. I have to tell you hard truths. I have to tell you the things that you may not like, or the things that you know that are wrong about you that you don't want to hear and accept. But I got to do, and for me, I do that first. I'll acknowledge your story, but I will do that first, because you always have to start with you. You know, we can't be quick to just jump on the bandwagon. Like Paris said earlier, we tend to go to people who are going to tell us what we want to hear and just, you know, add fuel to our jet so that we could take off, you know, but that is not helping. My job is to help keep people together, you know. And as well with that, you know, I have had to learn how to take and accept hard truths myself, you know. I've had to learn how to take hard truths about me myself. I've had to learn how to sit and take it and listen, you know, how to lean in. So let me see what's going on in the chat.
I mean,
Harris's special sensation said, "What 9 sides? They talk too many people." Listen, sometimes there's 9 sides when there's 2 people. It's not even a whole bunch of people. It could just be 2 people with 9 sides, because you tell your side, your perspective, what you saw they did, what you think they're going to say that you did. You know, it becomes a whole lot. But we have to be, are you willing to take the truth that you want someone else to dish out in situations like this? You know, so we have to be very careful when it comes to marriage and relationships.
Yeah.
I want to, anybody want to share before I read this?
I was going to say, I tend to probably frustrate people because I'm going to listen and then I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, right? And I'm going to ask you questions that are going to make you think about, you know, the situation and your side of it, right? Because I think a lot of people, if you ask them certain questions in a certain way, they will eventually come to the aha moment of realizing their part in the situation. Because I think that is important as well, right? Is that we tend to not hold ourselves accountable, right, to our part in situations, right, our part in the breakdown in relationships and communications, etc., right? And when we allow other people into that dynamic, especially when we choose the people that are going to tell us what we want to hear, it just compounds the problem, right? Because now you get puffed up in your wrongness, right? Because you got somebody that's co-signing your mess, right? And that's why for me, it's important that I have people in my life who are going to check me with love, right? Like, I want you to tell me the truth. I want you to tell me when, you know, something I'm doing is not right, right? I want the truth. I might not like it, but check me. I don't like people who are just gonna tell me what I want to hear. So 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna go to the person that's gonna tell me what I'm gonna hear. I'm gonna go to my friend that I know is gonna listen, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, Theo, you were wrong," right? Or, "No, Theo, you should, you know, whatever," right? So I think a lot of it also is maturity, right? And it's important that, you know, when you get married, it's new, right? You never been for someone that's never been married before, it's new, right? You're learning a new way of operating with another person, sometimes in another space, right? They're learning you, you're learning them, right? You and that's why I think it's also important. And I know some people hate to hear this as much as they hate me to talk about intention, but you got to establish the rules of engagement.
About it.
Like, you have to establish the rules of engagement, right? You have to establish when we have a disagreement, how are we gonna handle that? Or if my mate is the person that is not ready to talk right away, right? I need to respect that even if I want to get something off my chest, he might need a little bit of time to process and come back and have the conversation, right? And I can't be upset about that. And I can't go crying to someone, oh my God, he doesn't communicate. He's not doing this and that, right? You have to establish the rules of engagement.
Yeah, and you have to understand everybody is not, because we're not all wired the same way. Everyone's not going to agree with those rules of engagement that you set for you and yours. So don't let outside people, because and women, we talk about stuff. We just be talking, and we'll sit around and share with each other. Well, me and my man do this, or me and my husband do that, and this is how we handle blah blah blah. And it's always one, and sometimes it's us, but there's always one in the group that's like, girl, it wouldn't be me. That couldn't be me.
Oh my God, yes.
There's always one. No, it wouldn't be you, and it couldn't be you. And we'll run down 9,000 things that if you're not careful, you will tap into one of those negative things and bring it home and destroy your relationship over something that is not even really how you feel. It's just something that you picked up. You allowed someone to show you, to open you up to something that's not even a part of who this person. Sometimes there are one thing, one shot deals, something that happens one time.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. Like Coach said, we evolve. We're learning each other. Every time we enter into a relationship, we're learning this person brand new, and even in relationships, as we grow and change, I have to learn you on every level. The commitment has to be to me wanting to learn you on every level. I want to love you so much so that I want to know you on every level through all of your changes. I want to be there because I just enjoy you so much that I want to be there through all of those changes,
Yep. But I think the other people thing, I don't mean to cut you off, is that people need to understand, going back to the part you said about people saying it couldn't be me, is it couldn't be you and it wouldn't be you because God didn't mean for you to be in this situation that I'm in, right? He put me with this person for a reason, right? So it couldn't be you because you weren't the person that was meant to be with this person and going through this situation with that person.
That is
right?
different. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think that's important.
Y'all chime in on the men's side. Do y'all have those kind of moments in as men, again, as women, as we do as women, where there's always someone who is gonna say, "Girl, it wouldn't be me." Hold on. And before y'all answer, let me just read the comments right quick. Paris says, what did she say? I can't even see no more. Since I have not been married, do you think personality changes after you say I do? We're going to answer that after the fellas. I'm going to come back to that. Dawn is putting us
in a we? What's a we? What?
I don't talk. What she say? I don't talk a lot except on here. It's all right. We want you to feel comfortable. Right. Marriage is ministry. It is. And for those who may not think along those lines, marriage is a commitment and it's a covenant of two people, but again, the purpose of this conversation is for us to touch on the outside interferences and really just to get you to really start thinking about who you are allowing to influence your inner relationship. Just because there's maybe something that your girl sees about your man, this one thing that irritates her that she really don't like. Well, I'm gonna like him because you like him. I'm gonna be respectful because you like. But if it was me, I'm not like, I just don't agree. He ain't doing. No, I don't need you to swallow it and take one for the team. I need you to be respectful. This is what I'm genuinely respectful. But I also need you to be true because then it's up to me. I'm not going to, and again, I have proof. I'm not going to expose the person I'm with to those environments. If I know you don't like him, if I know that you don't care, if I know, I'm not going to create tense environments for us. Because again, it's my job to protect you emotionally as well, and not have to have you sitting in a space that's uncomfortable, with anyone. Oh, hey, Nina. Hey, Dr. Brown. I was going to call you by your whole name. Hey, sis, how are you doing? Good to see you. But I want the fellas, don't say women talk a lot. As we sorry for the confusion. Okay.
Oh.
Well, we do. We talk a whole lot more than men. So Eric, Justin, do men have those moments with each other as women do, where, like I said, we sit up and we're sharing, could just be venting, talking, but there's always one in the group that says, girl, that wouldn't be me. I don't know how you do it. Do y'all have those type of conversations, situations, or people in your men's circle?
I used to, and I had to get rid of the ones that, oh, that couldn't be me. Okay, it's not you. So, you can step to the left, step to the right, whatever the case may be. And or there's, because it's not you, that's not an answer that I was looking for if we're having a conversation. And or like, you have people, oh, you got married? Man, that couldn't be me. And it won't be.
Right. If it couldn't be, then it won't be. That's
right.
Yeah.
What say you, Justin? Have you had those experiences or been in those type of circles?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm like, my friend group is really small for one, and if I got one of those friends that he hop around and he trying to do a bunch of stuff, he can't tell me nothing about no relationship. I'm not gonna talk to him about a relationship. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, my friend group, they'll stand back and watch attitudes and see how engagement is. Um, but they're not gonna tell me, hey, whether or not I should be with a person. They'll just be like, if I go to them looking for advice, they'll give me advice. Other than that, they're not gonna say nothing about it because you know the 2% of life that they spend with her is not enough to be able to make an informed perspective on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If I ask for the 2%, they'll give it to me. But
Yeah.
outside of that, they're not gonna even share their thoughts on it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they see a situation bothering me, then they're gonna be like, "Yo, bro, I need you to, like I don't like how you're doing. Whatever gotta happen to get you in a better space, that's what we're gonna work on."
Okay, that's good. So, ladies, apparently men do not do like we do. Um, and I think that's important to know and hear. And again, this is not, we don't speak one for everyone. And the men in the chat, y'all can chime in and share. Do you have those type of circles, or what is your male circle dynamic like when it comes to this? Because at the end of the day, for me, I just want to see my friends happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're telling whether I like him or not, to the whatever degree or extent, if you love him, I like it. I like it for you.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, what do we, and you can come talk to me as much as you want to, what do we have to do to keep you in a healthy space to stay where you're at? Not to always do band-aiding and patchwork, but to get you really in an honestly healthy space, to maintain your relationship. Because if you love this person, as long as they're not doing you any physical harm, emotional abuse, spiritual, as long as there's no type of abuse in the relationship, we all go through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're all gonna go through the same type of growing pain as we go through. That's relationships build. Like it's not a, one size fits all, and it's not a, here the castle is built today. No, you take time to build your relationship. Paris says, yes, you said happy friends. Yeah, we want everybody to be happy. I want you to find find somebody, whoever that is. And again, I say for myself, I could care less. Matter of fact, I like it better. Sometimes I like it when you don't like them. It's fine. I'm gonna love who I love, and I'm gonna love them until I decide. If I decide And I don't need your thoughts, your opinions. I don't need all that. When I do, I will share with you. But we have to just be very careful. We are not opening the door to damaging our relationships before they can even get to a place of marriage. Eric is harsh. Dang, Eric is not harsh. But you know what? Sometimes you need it harsh.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to be realistic.
I don't have time for the foolishness. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm almost 60 years old. I don't have time for foolishness. If if one of my friends, we're the same age or you're a couple of years older than me, and you decide that you don't want to grow up and I don't want to grow up, I want to be a Toys R Us kid, then you stay that Toys R Us kid. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. It's all good. But that's not me. I'm married. I have a family. I have responsibilities. And I have a responsibility to not only my kids, but to my spouse. Mm-hmm. That's it. And if you can't accept that, then you can kick rocks.
And there you have it.
Kick boulders, break your leg. I don't care. But you gotta
go. Here we go with the list of things that he can do.
But I think you also need to know your friends, right?
Yeah.
I know my friends. I know the ones that just are talking and they just need me to listen. And I shouldn't say anything because they're not going to hear anything I'm saying because they're not really ready for it, right? I know the ones who are dramatic. So I got to take what they're telling me with a grain of salt because I'm like, this whole situation might be something they done created themselves because of their drama, right? I know the friends who love drama, right? And so you got to just be like, all right, I'm just going to listen. But I think it's important also to know your friends, right? Because that also, for me, I'm always going to ask you, how can I support you, right? Because support looks differently. It's different for everybody, right? And so sometimes people come to you, they just want you to listen, right? And, cool, I'm going to listen. But if I feel like, something is going on that might be harmful to you or whatever, I'm going to ask you, how can I support you, right? I'm not going to just decide for myself, right? What you need, how I can support you, what you need me to say or whatever. Because for the most part, I'm more of a listener and I'm quiet, right? I talk when I'm passionate about something. Other than that, I don't have much to say, right? And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to like my friends, I'm going to listen and be there for you and let you tell me what you need, right? Because I really don't want to get in the middle of your stuff. Right. I don't want to really be in the middle of it.
Listen, my thing is my friendship is with you above all. He's an addition.
Yeah.
So again, outside of the harmful elements that will affect you deeply, I'm not going to get involved. Yeah. Even if y'all are having a really bad argument. Yeah. My thing is I may interject so y'all to diffuse it so that you can get to a calm place. But I'm not trying to be in your business and do all of this. So let me
I'm like you. The thing for me where I'm gonna get involved is if I feel like you are being physically harmed, right? Like if there's abuse, right? Because then I may not be able to do much about it, but I'm gonna let you know, hey, how like Justin said, right? This doesn't seem like a healthy space for you, right? Is there something I can support you with, right? But other than that, like I'm not really trying to be on other people's stuff. Like I don't want to really know about it.
And it's not even just about us being in other people's stuff, but we also have to consider us allowing other people into our, it's the duality of it, and that's how we have to start looking at our relationships, looking at our marriages. Understanding it. And I know that our mentality a lot of times is we don't want to hurt anyone, so we go along to get along. But at the end of the day, someone is going to get hurt. Another thing to consider in that is don't always expect your partner or your spouse to understand.
Yeah.
To the understanding one. sometimes we go to the person that we feel is the easiest to work with, but that is not the best solution, because that person that's the easiest to work with is going to get tired after a while, because they feel unheard, they feel unseen, they feel like their feelings are not priority, and that's when we get into that conversation of, oh, you're always choosing your family above me, or you're always choosing your friends, you're listening to them. When they say something to you, you're coming to talk to me, but when I'm telling you this is how I feel, you're not going to talk to them. And we'll go, I'm talking to you because you're the more reasonable one right now. But it is such a, I believe, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really feel that it is such a back-ended way of doing things. I understand I'm more reasonable, but don't penalize me for being understanding.
Yeah. That's me. Like, listen, I understand that I'm the person that's there for you. I'm the person that's going to listen. I'm the person that's going to support. But the other thing that I'm not doing, I'm not going to keep reading the same chapter in the book. So if you keep coming to me with the same story over and over, and you've asked, got for me to give my opinion, and if I choose to give her because a lot of times I'm going to be like, this is what I would do. I can't tell you what my opinion is for your situation, but I can tell you, like, if this is how I would move if I was in that situation, right? That's not saying how you should move. But the other thing I'm not going to do is, if every time you come to me, we are on the same page in the book, you should go talk to somebody else, because I'm tired of reading the same page in the book. I'm sorry.
You're going to be damaging. Like, there has to come a point in time where you find the resolve for who's really creating the issue or whatever. Again, just don't abuse or take advantage of the understanding person, especially if it's your spouse.
Yeah.
You want to defuse the situation, but you also have to make sure that your spouse or your partner feels safe, feels protected, and feels covered by you under all circumstances. I don't care if it's your mama. Sometimes, we have to learn how to say, Mama, you wrong. No, ma'am. So let me read this, because I want to share this. And this is regarding marriage and relationships, but it's written in the sense for marriages. Okay. So, and if y'all could just hit that like button, please. And thank you, man. Please. Thank you, sir. I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation. We're on a slow track, winding down our September. September has not been very kind, I feel like, for me. So it has been a crazy month, but it has been filled with good conversation. So tonight we are talking about, who did I marry? Am I married to the family? Am I married to the person? We're talking about outer interferences, or outer things in family that interfere with relationships and marriages that can cause us to be unhappy because we are trying to please our family instead of protecting the one we love the most. All right. So it says, when we're talking about marital issues, these marital issues can stem from a partner's family. And again, this is the outside interference. And we're saying families could be families and friends. Justin, you wanted to add something? Are you okay?
No, I'm listening.
Okay. I saw your hand moving. I was like, oh, okay, hold on. All right. So, come on. All right. Marital issues can stem from a partner's family through excessive interference, a lack of boundaries, which she talked about before, or negative behaviors, which can create conflict, stress, and a sense of neglect within the marriage or relationship. Problems can always arise from cohabitation with family members. Problems can also arise from cohabitation with family members, financial demands on the couple, or differing family expectations for marriage. Addressing these issues often requires establishing clear boundaries with the family and fostering a united front as a couple. Y'all need me to read that again?
Mm-mm.
You need me to read it again?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so we're getting it here.
What scripture is that again?
This is from the book of Google, uh, chapter marital issues caused by family interference. And
Sound
again,
like truth to me.
the reason again why we're having this conversation again is because a lot of us are, as I said earlier, faking being happily single because we are allowing outside influences in our family's opinions to become destructive or toxic or turn us away from what we have learned about a person, and we are not protecting our relationship, but we are allowing it to be influenced by outside things, people, family, and friends. And sometimes people outside may know better or they see it from a different perspective. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't take that in, but you are with a person in an inside relationship, learning the totality of who they are, versus, as Justin said, was it the 2 minutes of time? 2 minutes?
2%.
2% of the time.
The 2% of the time.
But you know what's funny is as you were reading that, right? Like what came to my mind was a situation that actually happened while I was married, right? I'm not gonna say exactly who the person was, but a member of my family, right, who needed to stay with me for a little while, me and my husband for a little while, right? And we allowed it, right? Like them to stay, right? Was being disrespectful to my husband, right? At the time, my ex-husband, right? Like whether it was when he came in, wasn't speaking, just the tone, whatever. And I ended up saying to the person, listen, I know you family, I love you, but you're going to have to leave, right? Because you're not going to have my husband, ex-husband now, feeling uncomfortable in his home, right? And so I think we also have to be like that. That's what's important, right? When you form a union with someone, right? It now becomes, I believe, your responsibility to protect that person, right? In a sense, right? Like, and as you were reading that just popped in my mind. Like, I remember literally having that situation where I was like, yo, you family, but you're gonna have to exit. I don't know like, I'm gonna give you X amount of time, but if you can't respect, right, then you're gonna have to leave, because this is his house, right? He should not have to come home.
So let me ask the men a question, because again, we've all been married on this platform. Men, do you feel that you are left more vulnerable and open to being disrespected, or your emotions, your feelings not being taken into consideration, if your wife or your significant other have you been in a situation where, I'm trying to ask it fairly. Okay. Are there times when you feel emotionally unsafe when your wife or spouse chooses their family above you? I know I'm trying to word it correctly the way I want to ask it to you. So y'all bear with me. In these situations, because a lot of times I feel like it's more women who will tend to go with what their family says. I feel like men, and I could be wrong, but it's just my personal feeling, men, y'all kind of stand more 10 toes down on this is what it is, and not like you tend to protect the relationship more from outside conversations or thoughts, feelings, and opinions, as versus women who we will allow, like I said, it could have went another way with Theo's situation. She could have allowed that family member to still stay, but at the first sign of disrespect, like, for me, you gotta go. Especially, and this is my husband he's talking about, like, there's no second chance, because there should have never been disrespect. We can have a disagreement, but we can't have disrespect. So do y'all feel that y'all are covered or left more vulnerable to to be prone to experience these types or levels of disrespect in a marriage where you're not being defended, where you're not being covered, you're being exposed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say that if you are in a situation where you disrespect is allowed on the other side, and it's like it's easy to handle if you step in to address this with your people. But if the disrespect is allowed, um, that will leave a man vulnerable, and depending on the type of man it is, that can create a situation that can't be reversed because it's only so much of that that is going to be taken before he just won't have anything to do with or say anything to the family, which that can turn to a domino. You know what I'm saying? That can
Mm-hmm.
just grow a bunch of other habits because then it's like, yo, I don't want to put you in a situation where I'm gonna get mad at you for not stepping up. Um, but that could become a D if you do and D if you don't situation. Because if you defend yourself, no matter how you defend yourself, it's gonna be too much. Um, and if you don't defend yourself and you're not defended, that's just gonna create a very bad space. But I can say that I know what it's like to be in a situation and it I'll say this much. A situation like that, I know from experience, can create a situation where the feeling is that I will never have anything else to say. I don't care what happens. You exist in this world because God allows both of us to exist, but I don't need to know anything about that existence. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So, in order to create a space that is healthy, I think the fo- the focus has to be clearly understood that when you say I do, it's to that person, and then we have to understand the significance of a father saying to his daughter, uh, "You're his now," and God tells his son, "Therefore shall you leave your mother and father and cleave to your wife." That is what we have to focus on, and if we're focused on that, then you know, family has to be clearly understood. A family, uh, this my person. Um, let's keep that respectful, and then you got to be with somebody who's not gonna take advantage of that and try to treat the family in the kind of way because that's still the
Mhm.
family. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So it's a whole lot of respect in there that needs to be cultivated and uplifted and built on, so much so that even if the marriage don't work out, the family, you don't necessarily have to lose the family. You just that it didn't work out and it's cool.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a that
Right.
that that can be a beautiful thing. So,
Mhm.
but as a man, I definitely can say I've I try not to even do stuff like I can say that I know of a situation where it vulnerability was there and that vulnerability was calcified and hardened to the point where it'll never happen again.
Yeah, I feel like men have a very like you only have like one, maybe two spaces for something like that to happen. And that
Yeah.
second one is a real like you got the luck of the Irish to speak. Like if it happened,
Yeah.
because y'all don't, it's kind of like zero tolerance with y'all in that space. Whereas women, we are more pliable and will allow it
Mhm.
for a moment, and it's not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'm just saying that we recognize how we're wired so that
Mhm.
ladies, like women, speak up, like don't even allow it, you know. I mean, and the situation may occur, but when it occurs, address it so that the man knows that. I'm not tolerating that. Like, I'm covering you. I got you. You know, don't laugh it off and talk about it later, and don't just let it, roll by. Like, if you got to pull them to the side or something, because I think it's more, because we don't, as women, we're trying to avoid a confrontation or any type of conflict, but the confrontation and the conflict has already been initiated.
Yep.
And we have to make sure our men are covered and protected, because if I'm hearing and understanding Justin right, and when you said it, it's like that window is real small, and you will not get a second. No guarantee you're gonna get a second opportunity.
I'm not aware of a second opportunity. You get one, because I think we have to be the thing to remember is that if you're dealing with a couple, a married couple, right? They may fix that, but what you did, you don't. I gotta fix it. When I told God I'll fix it. When I didn't tell God I was gonna fix it with you, I forgive you. But if you try me like that again, I'm gonna ask God for forgiveness this time.
All right.
So, like, it's just one of the things where like, for me, if I mess up and I'm being addressed by somebody's parents, then I can respect that, because that's your person. But, like, let's listen to both sides. Like, don't it's a very sensitive situation. That's the best way I could put it. It's a super sensitive situation, because you may try to step in and help that person, but if you do that the wrong way, I don't know how to come
back. You can go a whole nother way.
Yeah, because it's like, I really don't. Like, I like your daughter. I don't like you. You lucky we don't move to Alaska somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I would just encourage, man, like, if you can establish that in the relationship very early on, the second you realize that it can go somewhere, try to get that part established and have that conversation early on, because you know what I'm saying? Like, some mothers can be too involved, some fathers can be too involved, and I ain't told God I was gonna marry all y'all. I ain't told God I was gonna fix it with all y'all. I told God I was gonna fix it with her. When y'all, hey, I'm going to my parents' house. All right, I'll see you when you get back. You want me to tell him you said, hey, no, you ain't got to worry about that. You good? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that. You just got to be really careful and realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could be, man. I'm praying for anybody going through it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it does get to that point where if it's not checked, you get to the point where you just start navigating differently, right? So how you interact with the family changes. Like Justin said, you'll be like, okay, now I'll meet you after that, or I'm gonna stay here, right? Like, you do have to figure out how you're going to navigate situations when you let disrespect continue without checking it.
That's the truth. And you got to catch it the first time. Eric, what would you add to what Justin said, if anything?
Well, for me, it's kind of different, because I really haven't had a situation like that where I was in a relationship where the family was just being disrespectful towards me. Yeah, but we won't talk about that. But now, you know what I'm saying, me and my wife's family get along great, and all we have conversations on the phone, chat online, all that good stuff, and my family loves Tasha. I call somebody, be like, hey, how's Tasha? I'll be like, well, I'm fine, thank you.
Because she was important,
right? But that's where we're at. It's if you're dating somebody and you bring that person to a family function, and the family will greet them and be cordial, and afterwards they either love her, they either like her or not, and so forth. And I've never had a situation where my family never liked anybody, and so forth. But then again, I didn't bring too many people around my family, and so forth. To be honest, it's only been Dawn and Tasha that I brought around my family, and so forth, because I know how my family can be. So I've never brought anybody that was of lesser quality around my family, and so forth. So when and it's the same thing. It's kind of crazy. It's the same thing with my godkids. Um, with me and my best friends, we had this thing where if we're dating somebody, we bring them by the kids, because the kids can always sense out whether that person's a good person or bad person, and so forth. And never had a problem. They were, oh my God, we love her, we love her, we love Dawn, we love Tasha, and so forth. Now, the next friend of mine brought his girlfriend around, and the kids was like, she can't ever come back over here again, and so forth, because it's a spirit with them. They can feel your spirit and tell whether you're a good person or a bad person, and so forth. And he didn't listen, and now he's been stuck with her for what, 16, 18 years, 21 years, whatever the case may be, and so forth. You stuck with her, and or you couldn't get rid of her if you tried. If you got in your car and drove 12 miles around the block,
We ain't gonna talk about the people. We ain't gonna
I
talk
know
about
she'd still be there, but I'm just saying, I've never had that. I've never had to experience really that kind of situation, except for one situation, which Dawn knows about.
we're not
And
gonna talk about
yeah,
it.
you know,
You're a blessed man.
well, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, but the situation was handled because I stood my ground, and
yeah,
she told him, don't go over there, please don't. Kind of situation and so forth. And I sat there reading my newspaper on the hood of the car,
we're
and
not
I,
gonna
Yeah.
talk.
I yeah, I didn't butt, and so forth.
I'll
No.
say this, like I step with my daughters, and I got the older girls and then I got my younger daughters, but the older girls no stepping out. Listen, if he cheat on you, that's y'all business. If he talk to you crazy and you stay there, that's y'all business. Now, if it's verbal abuse, I'm gonna verbally abuse him, and I established that with the guy.
Right,
Because if you think enough to bring him to me, if you put your hands on her, we're not talking.
right,
I'm coming to put my hands on you. If
yeah,
you're if she showed me that you're being verbally abusive, I'm going to be verbally abusive, and I dare you. Know that I really want you to go to the next level. And I'm saying, listen, I ain't pleading the fifth on this one. I'm saying what I'm saying. So
right.
if somebody put their hands on my daughter, I did it.
Oh yeah,
I'm just being clear.
Well,
But
yeah, of
outside of
course.
that, whatever you choose to accept from him, that's y'all business. I don't got nothing to do with that. That's y'all business because you accept it. Now, if you marry him, the thing is still the same. Hey, you don't want her no more, bring her home. If you ain't gonna treat her about nothing, bring her home.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you're gonna put your hands before you put your hands on her, bring her home. Because if she called me, I ain't.
Right,
I can't beat everybody. I'm gonna
right.
beat you.
Think about your next step
Yeah,
before you make a
right.
tragic mistake.
Because I'm saying that's why I said up front. I, there we are. There's nothing for us to talk about. If I'm 80 years old, I'm gonna go back to my Florida roots. Did you know you can go to Walmart and get firearms in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Lord Jesus. The
Yeah,
thoughts,
so
feelings, opinions. Now I got to use a disclaimer for
yeah,
it.
no, these are all mine. And if you pull them up later on in life, because I cut up, I did it. I'm just being about my kids.
And we,
Absolutely.
I ain't mad at you.
Why you ain't putting the disclaimer out for AJ? How come you ain't doing it for AJ? You did it for me. You did it for Paris.
Hold on. If I may correct you, sir, I did say now I got to put out a disclaimer for AJ too. I did say that.
Oh.
We were talking shit, okay?
Listen.
We wouldn't need a disclaimer if it wasn't for you to begin with. We didn't have a disclaimer before you came on this platform. Now we done got a disclaimer. AJ got to pull out his sunglasses.
Beginning when you invited.
I know.
But you know what's so crazy is like that is the protection you look for. Like it's crazy. The other day, I'm on social media and I'm chatting in like a chat with people, and one of my boys was like in a separate chat. Wait, is somebody in this chat aggravating you? And I had to be like, nah, lay back, fella. I'm good. Right, you know, but you know, people need to understand that they can't just get away with everything, and that's why I think it's important, like AJ and Eric are saying, that there is something that needs to be established, I believe, by the male in the family, right? Because people need to understand. Like I usually would tell dudes straight up. I usually say, listen, my daddy didn't put his hands on me, right? So think twice before you think about it, because you will draw back a nub. But outside of that, I also got a bunch of these male cousins and brothers over here that I just got to dial 7 digits, right? And it'll be over, right? But I do think that it's important for the male to establish, like, they're not going to be in the relationship, but there needs to be an understanding that if it's necessary, they will roll up.
Right. My involvement is going to be physical. So don't make me have to be involved. Just come watch the game with us. I don't want to do all of that, bro.
But I do think it's important that is established.
Oh, absolutely. My sisters, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to the guy that you're doing that with. Ew, that's gross. But I need him to know that if it goes anywhere else, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. I don't care who. I don't care. But now, if she called me and it looks, I'll say this: I had a situation years ago. I was in Jersey, so nothing happened. And before I got to the place where they were, the police had taken care of it. But had they not, on the advice of counsel, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. That's what I'm saying.
You just said there. Now I will just object and say, I don't really know how we got here, but we're here now. You know, I will say that, and I love it. I really do, because we went from talking about
who
we
say I do too. So
right. No, I'm with it. I'm just saying it just snuck up on me, realizing like, okay, we're talking about protecting our relationship. You know,
but also the relationship doesn't just have to be. It doesn't just have to be It doesn't have to just be the husband and wife. It's your family members too. You know what I'm saying? Because my female cousins who I love dearly, when they're in relationships. To give you an example, over the summer, we went over to one of my cousins' house for a family night and so forth. And my younger cousin had her boyfriend there and went to introduce me to the boyfriend. And he was like, "That's the cousin Eric?" And I just sat there and I was like, "Yes, I'm the cousin Eric." He was like, "Oh, nice to meet you, sir." And I was like, "Oh, we're doing the sir thing." I was like, "We're only a couple of years apart, but if you want to call me sir, by all means, go ahead." So I already know that she gave him the 411 on me and was like, "This is who you're gonna have to deal with if you do something wrong to me," kind of situation. Because you know they all girls, so they don't have brothers. I'm the oldest out of the cousins, so yeah. But
the balance in all of but the balance in all of this is that even with those stances, the same way that we feel about those in our families that we want to protect and cover like that, our spouse or our significant others have someone in their family who is going to cover them just the same.
Of course.
So there has to be, it can't be the pissing contest of, or the do what I say, don't do what I do, because the person you're with has people who love them just as much.
Of course.
And this is the importance of whoever it is that you are establishing this relationship with, the two of you setting those boundaries so we don't have to get into these type of confrontational situations. Now, I know we're talking about what would happen if, when, and should it come up, but you have to develop this game plan of protection for you and your partner before you even get there, because you'll never get to marriage if in the relationship you don't set boundaries, if you don't cover one another, if you don't, you allow people to the familiarity and people to get comfortable with talking to your partner a specific way, because that will then breed a level of comfort that this is because you tolerated it. At one point, we think it's okay. So you may have let it go the first time or whatever, because it's like, okay, you don't want to cause no ripples in the water the first time. But a person then becomes accustomed to how you allow them to talk to you. People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And so I wanted to hear from you guys because, and Justin, I see you, that you have something to say. I'm going to let you in 1 second. Ladies, I'm glad that the gentleman brought up what they brought up. And I'm saying that because women, we also have a responsibility and an obligation to cover our men emotionally in the same way. It's not just on one. Protection is not one-sided. Protection is twofold. So I can't allow my girlfriends, my mama, my kids, even my kids, my son and people that I've dated, I never allow him to disrespect anyone that I date, but I also don't allow anyone I date to respect my son, to disrespect my son. So it doesn't matter who it is. We have to make sure that we are covering one another. Secondly, I want to say, first of all, Eric talking about the people in his family and how they love. I'm lovable, period. Okay. Just so you know, I don't care who you are. You gonna love me because you ain't got no choice. All right. You may not like me sometimes, but people always gonna love me. It's just how I am. And so I just wanted that to be known. I've never had too many people who don't. Most people like me. I'm all right. I'm okay. I think I'm lovable, But I'm just joking, y'all. But it's important that we, again, that we cover each other in these relationships, because they will never get to marriage. As AJ was saying, it's a very small window of opportunity. You ain't gonna get but maybe one time for that to happen and it not be addressed, because there's a place in a man, I believe, that shuts down very Taris. I'm not gonna say I'm humble, because humble people don't have to say they're humble. But you say you're humble, I'll say I'm lovable. That's right. I will force you to love me. Period. But we don't want, the same way that the men are willing to go to that extreme or these extremes to cover the women, your daughters, ladies, we have to, and it may not show up the same way, but we have to make sure our men are comfortably secured and covered, knowing that I'm going to address anybody that, may disrespect you. I did have a situation where person I was with was disrespected by a family member. I did not know about it until the person I was with brought it up. I had no idea that happened. I got blamed, called all type of names and whatnot, because they were offended because my family member came out of pocket at them. Well, sir, I didn't know. I'm just finding out by you telling me. And I said I would take care of it. And I did address it. Now, I didn't go popping off and creating a scene and all these other things, because I didn't want to damage any of the relationships that I had anymore. I'm trying to bring us together, not break us apart. But because I did not address it in the way, shape, and form that he thought I should, Oh, he went off again. I got accused and blamed for not covering him, not protecting him, just letting my family say and do what I was like, what are you talking about? You know, I did address it. I can't control adults. You know, I all I can do is react to what you're saying to me, but we just have to be open to trust our partners that if we say we're going to address it or it's going to be addressed, that they do that. Now, if the person still continues to do what they're doing, then we react differently. I can't control if they're going to do it again, but I did address it. Now it's how I address it the second time is differently, you know, but I think men, again, have the very short windows. So ladies, we don't have a whole bunch of opportunities, you know, whereas the other way around, women, we may give it a couple of rounds. Men don't have that patience for that. You know, AJ, you wanted to share something before?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, the reason that I brought it up and expressed it the way I did is because it's a very real thing, and it actually comes from a healthy space, believe it or not. Um, and it's something that should be taken into consideration at the top, because that could really be a situation like, and it could take years, if ever, to repair it. So it's just something that I think going into a relationship that's going to be serious, it should be taken, because this is a conversation you may not ever actually get to hear, but the troops are always ready in the family. And if you got somebody that with a real good friend, though, like my best friend, if something happened to me and he heard something happen to my daughters, in my grave made out of sand, I ain't worried about it. Cause that's gonna be addressed. And I think that, like I said, I think it's important to just say it out loud, to call it, understand that it's healthy. And as passionate as it is that way, if you invest into your person, um, it it can be just as equally passionate the other way, where it's like, hey, if somebody in the family step to this person, wait a minute, bro, you can't talk to him like that. That's her. No, you can't. We're not finna do that. It takes time to build it, but yeah, no, you can be a part of a family structure. You can become a part of a family structure where that family will make sure everybody knows, hey, no, he us. Like, we are she us. Like, we're not doing that. Like, my sister, my older sister, if she like you, from day one, she'll say, oh yeah, I like her, in front of the person. But if she don't, she'll say from day one, oh, she gonna need time because right now I don't like her. It's nothing personal, but I just, your spirit don't agree with me. She'll say it day one. So I usually try to make sure that day one is probably day 75, 80, 2 years for me,
Give you a
because
check.
she's going to say it then. And again, I think all of that is healthy. I think that's the way it's supposed to be. I think that make all the sense in the world. Um, I think we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if somebody who you know got your back say, "Hey, man, you sure that's what you want?" I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think a person like that is gonna be wise in the way they approach you. You know what I'm saying? And so I think you should heed to all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm saying it so the people in the crowd understand that no matter what you go into, if there are men involved with it, men respect each other based on the threat of violence. That's literally how things work amongst men on a biological level. You get to the point where I respect him so much that he ain't never got to worry about me being threatened. And if anything ever come up with him, it's up. But that's how we respect each other. That's where you go from juvenile male to grown men. That's the like young men should. When I was growing up, I say that when I was growing up, young men would never disrespect the older man. And if an older man ever found himself in a situation, a young man will lay his life down about that. That's just not. You just don't do that. Like it don't work like that so much now, but when I grew up, that's how things work. And so that's the principles I work off of now. Like, no, bro, you not finna disrespect. No, are you serious? Me and you finna do something because I'm only 40, so I still got it. I'm just about to get to the point where I got my old man strength. So, yeah, we about to do this. But I think it's important for people to understand that that is a part of the family relationship dynamic. Like, that's whether you say it or not, it's there. And so these are things that we should consider, you know what I'm saying? Because when like the question that is being, who did I marry? Yeah, like in a healthy situation, you married somebody that's about to tear up the whole world. So please consider that. Please take that into account. Don't put me in a situation where, you know what I'm saying? Because this family member, like every family, I can't speak for every black family got that one cousin that we know will go to jail.
Yeah.
And so, but what people don't realize is in the man's meeting in every family. I ain't even got to go to all of them, but in the man's meeting in every family, your manhood depends on how you defend your cousin, your female cousins, and your sisters, and your mothers, and your aunties. Let somebody disrespect them and you don't do nothing, man, you gonna be put out of the family. You supposed to lay it down about that. So it's just this is one of the real things that's gotta be you gotta be real careful. And everybody should be conscious that these are things that we have to consider. Like, bro, don't put me in a situation where I got to cut up. I want to go to church Sunday. You're gonna have me locked up Saturday night. Stop, bro. Let me do the right. It's very few times I'm willing to get cut up, but this is one of them that I have to, or my family ain't gonna talk to me no more. So I think these are things that we gotta consider. And you know, after all of that, mind your business.
No, that's good. Thank you for that, because that is good insight. I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I can't even challenge that. It's actually something for me. I'll be honest, it's something for me. I have to sit in and swallow. And I think as a fully grown woman now, I see it a lot differently than I did when I was younger. As Eric shared but not shared, many, many moons ago, it was a challenging situation that occurred. But he stood his ground. My family members stood their ground, and I did what I needed to do to maintain everybody, intact. But it's understanding more of where men come from. And it's making me think, and I'm going to read some comments, and I have a few points I want to read before we wrap up tonight and give everybody a chance to share before we end. But it's making me think now and really realizing and asking the question. I see it from the different perspectives Justin is coming from. We're talking about who did I marry? Was it the family, the person, or the family? And kind of a side note, what it's making me think of is how, and this is not a real word, but how unused to I am of being really protected that way down through the years, because I've been very independent, like on my own for a really long time, and understanding how men are. And that's the challenge. And I'm like, women, this is a topic of another kind, but I'm just saying it's what made me start thinking just now, like learning how to sit back and allow a man to protect you in that space. It can be a challenge. It can be very challenging because the very conflict that we're trying to avoid is the very respect, as Justin put it, that men are trying to impose and insert and earn to some degree, so that was good. That was it made me think introspectively, excuse me, and look at it from a totally different angle. And some of us women, we may be challenged. I know I'm not the only one. We'll be challenged with having men in our lives that will cover us and protect us in those ways. And we have to understand that that's a part of the protection and not take it any other kind of way. So, thank you for that.
I had to be challenged with not using it so much because I had that type of protection, right? And so I had to be careful because I would say to a dude in a minute, all I got to do is dial 10 digits, right? And after a while, you realize that could be intimidating to some men, right? If you're constantly saying to them, yo, dude, all I got to do is dial 10 numbers, right? And this will be handled, right? Because that's the type of cousins I grew up with. So I think there has to be a balance as well when you do have that protection.
Yeah, right? and I can't say that I've never had it. When I say I've it's different. I am always overly protected. Like if anything happens, if the slightest thing that I get, if Rock was on here, Big Brother Rock was on here, I promise you, the moment something looks like it, he will text, he will pop off his mic, he will do it. Like before it has a chance to register with me that something might be wrong with me, my Big Brother Rock is on it.
He's right there.
Yeah, and my biological brothers are the same way. My uncle's the same. My father, I know that Eric is married and naturally all that, but there's still a level of we all show up for each other in our family dynamic. I know if there's ever an issue or anything, I most of the time be quiet and try to solve it because I'm like, bruh, what you don't want is if I have to send out the call because they not going to have conversation with you. Is the minute that I say I'm upset and something happened, I'll tell me details later. Where am I going and what's their name? So like you're saying, it's learning that balance in my adult life internally is where, because I've been on my own for so long, because I've been having to cover me, for so long. So I'm just saying, it just hit me a little different when you said it. And it really made me think of my position of myself. And that's a place where I think for me in relationship, I have to learn how to take that off. And I'm being real transparent right now because this was real therapeutic for me. But I have to learn how to take that off to allow a man to be able to be in that space. Because a man could look and say, well, what do you need me for? Because that's all, like, you already got that. You know what I'm saying? If you got you in every space that I'm supposed to have you, then why am I here? And I'm just sharing openly, y'all. I'm just sharing openly, but I know I'm not the only one. And I'm sure that there are other women out here that if we're listening and we hear it, I don't know if it hit you the same, but that's how it hit for me, because I had two brothers, and I'll tell them in a minute, like, bro, listen, look, I'm not the baddest chick on the block, but I know how to handle my hands, and I have two brothers. So fighting a man is nothing new to me, like, just so you understand, I might not win, but you're going to know that I was there by the time this fight is over. It might be an Ike and Tina kind of moment. I don't know, but, hopefully it never gets to that. It would never get to that.
Do I have to do the disclaimer now? Do I have to?
What you
like? Yeah.
Did I do it? Did I join the crowd of disclaimers?
We all need the disclaimer. Why y'all started this
tonight? This was not at what I envisioned. Let me read these comments and stay out of trouble. Let's see. Moose says, he said, where we at? But we got to build that kind of family thing again. And these are all comments to what AJW was saying. He says, it's so hard because everyone thinks so different. He also says, you talking about love, bro. Paris said, true, Moose. Moose says, you got to love yourself and people, humanity to be like that. He also says, I wish. He said, but this new world is crazy. That's facts. It absolutely is. He said, don't see it no anymore, bro. Okay, right. Women have to allow that on the inside. And so, yeah, it's that that's something I would say that's something that I needed to hear that because I just needed to hear it. He said it's like changing what you got. It's like changing what you got the tool for, i.e. a vacuum, and using it to hold up a bookshelf. Okay. Then complaining about sweeping, Get it? Okay, he says, thank you for sharing. You're welcome. One of the things that we're going to talk about in October, when we do our verses, which is coming up, might even be next Thursday. So next Thursday or the Thursday after, is this just made me think about it, is the fact that women, we are charging our men to go heal and to go grow and to go and become and to go learn emotional intelligence. And they're doing that. And they're coming out of these spaces, healed, emotionally intelligent, grown. Yet while they've been doing their work, what have we been doing? And a lot of men are going to be coming out of these spaces healed, whole, together. And are we ready to handle the healed, whole, together man?
Take off the shades. All right.
And I thought of that because, like I said, as AJ was talking, hearing it from that perspective, having to now, as a 56-year-old woman, having to unlearn how to take off that layer of protection that I had to learn to put on for myself during a time when I needed it because I was by myself. But now if you're looking to partner with someone, if you're looking to be in that space of relationship, you're going to have to pull that layer back so that he can stand in his rightful place and do it without the fight of you, in addition to having to deal with these outside challenges like AJ was mentioning. So, that's going to stick with me tonight. That is going to stick with me for a while, for a minute there. Let me read these few little things here before we wrap up. I hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Like that for me, AJ, that's my reflection moment. Like that, I'm really stuck there. Like I'm on a bookmark right now. Thank you. You know what? You always triggering something all the time.
I was gonna say yes. I expect a poem or a writing from that.
I'm sorry, Paris. I will ask your question again. Just give me a moment, and we will get an answer for you. But again, I do want to share these few things while we're on topic. Common ways families cause marital issues. And again, this is marital and relationship. We just want you to, want to leave you with some points before we leave here tonight. Family interference. And again, as we're talking boundaries, and these are things for you to keep in mind. No one is saying, and let me say this, no one is saying that you cannot include your family, that you should not speak to your family. What we are saying is when you're in relationship, you have to safeguard that relationship and just be mindful of outside influences and interferences. Do not allow in to even become comfortable and familiar to begin with, because those can be damaging to you and your spouse, you and your mate, you and your partner. So family interferences, lack of boundaries, negative or toxic behaviors, cohabitation with family, financial demands, differing family expectations. You may want this, they may want that. You may think this, they may think that. All right, so these are a few of the things that are common ways that families and friends, outside people influence marital issues and relationships. Again, family interference, lack of boundaries, negative or toxic behaviors, cohabitation with family, financial demands, and differing family expectations. Now, how to address these issues, because we don't want to just leave it open-ended. We want to make sure that we give you some solutions as well to walk away with, because all of this can be fixed and it can be solved. One of the key things is communication always. Communication does not mean it will be easy and smooth. It does not mean that it's a one talk and that's it. It's not a one-shot deal. You're going to have to come to the table time and time again to continue to communicate, to walk it out, talk it out, and see what this looks like in real time. So, again, how we address these issues, establish clear boundaries. Do not be afraid of losing someone because you established a boundary. If you're afraid of losing someone because you established a boundary, that just means that their season in your life is up. Maybe they'll catch up on the back end. Do not be afraid to let it go, because guess what? You're going to lose something or someone along the way anyway. Try to make sure that it's not the one that you love. That's all. So establish clear boundaries, prioritize your relationship, make sure that the person you're with feels and knows that they are a priority. Again, that goes back to the do not abuse the understanding one. Do not make the one who understands always have to understand. Okay, prioritize your relationship. Communicate openly with your partner. We have to be able to have the hard, honest conversations without taking it personally, but making it personal. Or without taking it personal, but speaking personally. Whichever way works better for you. Seek professional help. Get a third party. You know, we are big on therapy and counseling here. You don't know where to go? We have some licensed clinicians and therapists that are actually a part of the Bravo network, and we can definitely connect you to a host of them in order to get you some type of help to talk with someone. Just for fun, who comes first in a marriage, spouse or family? Simple answer, your spouse generally comes first. AJ made the point of leaving and cleaving. Your spouse comes first, hands down, period, point blank, and that's what that is. Bear with me 1 second. All right, so those are just some key points for tonight. And if I can get back to Paris's question, I believe it was about personality changes during marriage. While I'm looking for that, why don't we go around and make our final thoughts and comments? So I'm going to start with Eric and then go to AJ and then go to Coach Steele while I find Paris's question. So take your 60 seconds and give us your final thoughts, comments. What would you like for the people to walk away with today?
My final thought would be to stop offering information to your family members. You know, it's like that's like you being hauled into for questioning in the precinct, and you're sitting under the light and they're asking you questions and you're offering up answers. You don't have to offer up answers to your family, because the marriage is between you and your spouse. It's not between you and your family. So stop offering up answers. Respectfully just decline and just be like, listen, this is between me and my spouse. I got this. I don't need any help. If I need help, I will come ask somebody responsible for advice, because not everybody's responsible in giving advice, because you might have somebody that's never been married. How are they going to advise you on a marriage if they've never been married? They're just giving you a answer that you want to hear, or perception from their point of view. and or I'm not, when I got married, I said my advice is going to come if I need advice, I need to have advice from somebody that's been married before, and so forth, because that's a better understanding and clearer um, explanation of what you need to hear. So, with that being said, I thank you. Um, God bless you. And in the words of Russell Simmons, good night. Oh,
Look,
yes,
thank you.
I'm sorry. You can reach me at djelove2025yahoo.com. I'm across Facebook, Eric Swinton. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, withoutwarningradio.com. Download the app. Enjoy.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughts. Come on, AJ.
Um, so with all that I said about the family dynamic and defending the cousins and nieces and all of that stuff like that, I would, it would not be fair for me to say, so that the ladies understand that if you're gonna be the type of person that's always known for causing all kind of trouble, we gonna probably have to talk to that guy before we cut up. So, consider that when you out there. Don't, like, we heard Coach Theo saying she had that, but I can almost assure you her family knew if the call actually came through, then it meant something. Um,
Mm.
I love my sisters and my aunties, but if you known for doing crazy stuff, I ain't finna get locked up for you because you ain't finna do nothing but go back. Now I'm locked up and you in the house cuddled up. We not gonna do that. So do that within reason. That ain't just, we ain't trying to be ignorant. There's just a family dynamic that is innate in men, or at least that's how I was raised as a Southerner. Um, we behave like the Mapoho brothers of Africa, and if you don't know what that is, you can go look it up. Um, and I think you'll find it interesting. I am AJW the poet. Uh, I'm a poet, mental health advocate. I believe in relationships. Believe it or not, there is some stuff about relationships in Courageous Vulnerability. And the next book is almost exclusively about different types of relationships. But right now, we're just trying to get to X amount of books sold. Um, I go live on Sundays at 6 p.m. And I want to say this, shout out to Lady Dawn being on the live on Sunday.
Oh,
She definitely helped us get to a space that we needed to get to. I got a couple of phone calls. Preachers not mad. They wasn't happy about it, but I'm like, well, come up on the panel. That's your business. I don't care nothing about that. Like, if you're not gonna say nothing, then I don't care what you feel. Don't call me later.
tell them
The
they can.
live was for us to have that conversation. They were mad at me.
Oh, okay. I'm
They,
gonna say tell
they
them.
was
Oh,
mad at me because of the stuff I was asking, and I'm like, yeah, we had somebody answer it though.
I was
But
gonna say if they
there's
mad,
other ways to look
tell them
at it.
come find me if they mad. Tell them come find me.
Well, again, this is where me as your younger brother,
You
they
got
ain't
it.
gonna get that far because it's up already.
See what I'm saying? Okay.
And yeah, no, and I don't care about that other stuff. Please go there with me, cause I know I'm one of God's sons that be cutting up, but I know His word. Now we go there if you want to go there. I know His word. Now we cut up if you want to cut up. I don't act like it, but I'm familiar with what the word says. So we cut up if you want to cut up. But anyway, yeah, yeah, we that's the way I was taught how you love your person. And just for the people hearing this, even if you have a husband and your husband grow, there's a place that your husband can grow to within the family where if he called and be like, man, bro, she hitting me, she cutting up. Now we got, hey, come and save here. Hey, what's going on? Like, what you putting your hands on, bro, for? You know what I'm saying? So it's not a one-sided thing. There's a total family dynamic within there where that man becomes the man that, like, what we have to realize is on a primitive level, on a very, very fundamental level, for that man to gain respect from the men in your family, we have to believe that if somebody come in that house, he does not continue to live for you. And if he convinces us of that, we're gonna respect it. We'll protect you by keeping him good. And so it's not just a one-sided thing. There's a lot in there. And again, like that's a southern thing. That ain't even something I know how to turn off. I'm talking about I could be mad at somebody, a woman in my family, but the call come through, I know it's up. Now, what the plane tickets cost? You got to come to Florida. This is how we handle this. So, you know, I ain't saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm young enough to see what's going on today, but old enough to understand how it worked back then. And follow me on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and follow everybody on the panel. Y'all have a wonderful and blessed night. I wanna tackle Paris's question too, so I'm gonna stick around.
Okay. And yeah, y'all make sure if you're not on TikTok, please get on TikTok. If you are on TikTok, follow AJW the Poet. He does go live, like he said, on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. on TikTok. It's always great, amazing conversation, dialogue. We do have, I want to say, in a sense, similar conversation in the sense of it, the reality of it, the realness of it, and the integrity of it. We're talking about the things that people don't talk about, and getting down to the root of the matter. So please make sure you are following him and join us over there. Come on, Coach T, give us your final thoughts and comments. And then we're gonna.
So I mean, I'll probably echo some of what Eric and Justin said, but I would honestly just say that I do believe that marriage is between the two people that take the vows, right? And I'm thinking about, what do you ministers say about the little circle, right? Normally doing the ring and the circle. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
Right? So I would honestly say that I think people need to think about that, right? Irritability, that those three chords, right? Like, honestly, there should be no one else I believe there should be no one else in your marriage, right? Having a voice in your marriage, unless, like I said earlier, someone believes that you might be in an unhealthy situation, right? And even then, it's a check-in, right? To make sure you're okay, keeping an eye out. But in all reality, when you take those vows, right? It is like the minister says, or whoever you get married by, right? Whoever gives you that oath. I always remember them talking about the ring, and how the ring is a circle. And what does that circle mean, right? It's you two now, from this point forward, creating a life, a family, and a dynamic that you can engage in a healthy relationship. And if you allow other people sometimes into that space, that can create an unhealthy relationship. So I think people need to be mindful of who they allow in their space, in their stuff, right? Unless it's absolutely necessary. And I only really believe it's necessary if someone is in an unhealthy, abusive type of situation. That's just me, right? And then I think we also are responsible to show up in that relationship also in a healthy way, right? Showing each other respect, right? Because communicating with each other in a respectful way, right? Honoring each other's feelings, etc. As we set the rules of engagement and the boundaries for our relationship.
Okay. Well, you have heard it here from Sir Eric the Matador, Mr. Courageous Vulnerability, AJW the Poet, and Coach Theo themselves. I hope and I know that we have gathered some good information on tonight that is going to help us move forward in our relationships. It's just about really taking a moment to consider things as we're going along. Maybe it's stuff that we didn't pause to think about before, but these are things that we should, could, and apply so that we are making the better choices and showing up as a better choice in each other's lives. So I would just say, really briefly, I do love when you were talking about that circle and the ring, Theo. It just really made me think in my closing comments that when we are doing those type of ceremonies, and we talk about the ring, we said it is whole, is complete. There is no beginning, there's no end, there are no breaks, there are no cracks. And it is symbolic of how the two of you will now be, as one, complete, whole, no breaks, no cracks. And that is a beautiful thing. But it also made me think of the pieces that are created, the pieces that are put in place to create that ring, that circle, are not just made alone. And in some senses, to a degree, this is where our family and our friends do come in, because they become a part of that circle dynamic, because they are who help influences us to become who we are. But there also comes a point in time where we have to cut away from the crowd and become the individual. And so when we get into that space of relationship, especially when it leads to the marriage, we are becoming one with that person. And we can no longer we have to cut the ties with the bigger circle to create this smaller dynamic, as Coach said. And with that in mind, I always want my person to know without a doubt that they are loved, felt, seen, and protected by me in every way possible. I do my best to make sure that I show up that way. And I think we all need to make sure, like, I want it to be unspoken. I don't ever want you to have to question or doubt. I don't even want to have to come across your lips. I can't control what other people do. I can only control how I show up. But I would want my person to understand and be rest assured that when I show up, I am showing up in the best way that I can to cover you. I'm committing myself to covering you. So as long as we keep that in mind as we are in this space of relationship, then we are all the better for it. That's just, and again, it doesn't mean that your family, you disattach or disassociate, but allow your relationship to live, thrive, and grow and develop what this relationship is supposed to be like. Not like mama and daddy's, not like pop and grandma, not like Auntie Jenny and Uncle Kevin. We have to build our own dynamic. So when you're thinking about who did I marry, know that I've married the person, but I've inherited a whole family. All right. So with that being said, yes, Paris, I know your question was not answered, and I went to go find it. And we're going to touch on it briefly because I don't want to keep you out here all night. She says, since I have not been married, do you think personalities change after you said I do? I would just say to this, when you think about personality, personality refers to, this is what it says, the unique. And the reason why I want to read it is so that we understand what we're talking about here. Personality refers to the unique and consistent patterns of an individual's thinking, feeling, and behaving that distinguishes them from others. So does a person's personality change after you say I do? I would say that there are definitely changes that happen within a person's, or can happen, or should even happen within a person's personality when you say I do. Why? Because you are growing into someone else who you were not before. A lot of times we grow based on our exposure. A fish only grows as big as the bowl that it's in. If you want to see a fish grow bigger, take it out of the little fish bowl and put it in the tank, and it will grow. And with that, our personalities grow because we are exposed to more. I didn't have to have, like, you are the other half of my heart that I didn't have to protect before. I didn't have to think of before. I didn't have to cover before. So yes, my patterns of thinking and belief are no longer singular, but now they're plural. So my patterns my habits. I can't just think of me, my feelings. I just can't consider what I'm doing. I have to consider all things. It does change, but the core of who you are, I believe, somewhat remains the same. Anybody else want to answer her quickly? I know AJ, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't. Not only do I think they do change, I think they should change because, like you said, if you're married for the first time, you're becoming a husband or a wife. If you're married for the second time, you're becoming a different type of husband to a different type of person. Um, and whether for me, every day that you wake up presents new opportunity, and you should change with the new opportunity. Whether that change is growing stronger in what you're in, or dying to self in another type of way, change is inevitable. It's change to me. Change is I heard somebody say the only two things guaranteed in life in life is death and change. So you should expect that change is to be expected. If I ever do get married again, my expectation is the change. Now I do think we can come to a place of maturity where we can facilitate and influence that change by what we consume, the type of information we consume, and how we process it, so we can change into something better, or grow, because growth by definition is change. Growth by definition is change. But yes, you will change. Life dictates that. Life dictates change. It just you just you don't even have to try to. You will. You know what I'm saying? And so yes, I think to look at it in reality is to expect change. But I do believe that you can influence that change by what you consume mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. You can have an impact and dictate that change to some degree by what you consume. So yes, not only is change inevitable, it's necessary for growth.
And I guess I'm gonna tackle it in a different way. I definitely agree that the change is necessary, and there will be some changes because you're growing and you're evolving, and you need to do so, right? As just a couple, right? You're gonna grow and evolve. But I'm also wondering where the question is coming from. Because, like, do they change in a sense where they showed you one side of them when you were dating, and now that you're in this marriage, that, like, before they were a happy-go-lucky, I want to do everything type of person, and now they're in a relationship and they're not that person, right? So I think it depends on where the question is coming from, right? Because we all know that as you mature, you're meant to grow. You have to evolve, right? But there are people who end up in situations where they date the representative, they get to know the representative, and then they get married, and the representative is somebody totally different, right?
That's a whole for sure.
And so I would say, just from those two angles, I'm looking at it, right? Change, definitely. There should be change. There should be some type of growth, maturity, evolving together. But you do, and I think that's where it's important to really date and learn the person in every season, for lack of a better way. Like, Lady Dawn always says it better, right? But you gotta get to know that person. How do they argue? How do they handle disappointment? How do they handle grief? How do they handle all of that, right? Because you are sometimes dating someone's representative, right? So I think if, depending on where you're asking the question from, that would be my response.
Thank you all. Eric, did you have something before we? Okay. So thank you everyone for those shares, Paris. I hope that shed some light and began to touch your question. She says, yes, coach, that's what I meant. So we're glad that we touched on that. But I think those things happen. Some people will change when you get what you want. Some people have a mentality, I'm going to do what I need to do to get what I want. And when I get what I want, my son resets himself back to the core of who he is every single time. It's a pattern. That is his personality, period. He's not going to change. And it's not even that he's being a representative. You just have to know the person's pattern and cycle, but that will show up even before a marriage begins. So you'll already know. The thing is, are you going to accept it and bypass it? Are you going to address it and be willing to let that person go if that's not what works for you? So, there's things to consider. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and for hanging in here with us. This was a longer show than usual, but it was good conversation. Now, September is over and October is upon us. And I promise y'all it's going to be good. We got 5 Thursdays that is going to go down. We're going to have the versus, the men's lounge versus the ladies' room that you don't want to miss. Because we are really going to be on opposing sides that night. Okay? No holds barred. We're going to have poetry night. We're going to have a conversation on life. Is it life, love, or lust? Uh-oh. AJ already got his glasses on. And we're going to have other dynamic conversations. Of course, the men's lounge is going to have their solo night on their own, led by AJW. We just going to put him in the captain's seat. I'm going to sit in the back and just moderate and be the administrator. So we're looking forward to that because we want to hear from some men talking about some men stuff. So, guys, let's make sure that we please lift up Sir Eric as he was going into surgery tomorrow. We're going to be saying prayers for him or whatever your spiritual or moral compass says, set some good vibes his way. We look forward to seeing him on the other side. Don't worry, I'm doing the surgery, so he'll be okay. All right? Anyway, y'all, I appreciate you. I love you as always. Thank you for tuning in to Thursday night with me, your girl, Lady Dawn B, as your host. I couldn't do it without the squad. You guys are amazing, awesome, and I love how we flow and grow together. So you guys have a great night. Make sure you are liking, subscribing, and tuning into the network. There is more to come as we go and as we grow. So, see you all next week.
Fortunately, blessings are not a snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got you underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. Cut that game plan. Show out like a